I never expected, just after a nap, to find myself surrounded by a pod of orcas. These orcas are the enemies of seals, and they quickly blocked all exits. For these two seals, this floating ice became their only refuge. Luckily, the edge of the ice was sharp enough, so the orcas couldn't get too close. But then, the orcas launched their attack without hesitation, creating huge waves, pounding the seals one after another. One seal was knocked into the water by the waves, but it quickly scrambled back up. The seal, still panting on the ice, thought it was safe, but the hunt wasn't over. The orcas swam off into the distance, preparing for their second attack. This time, the black seal became the target. But luckily, it wasn't knocked into the water. The orcas were smart, quickly realizing the black seal was bigger, so they launched their third wave of attack. This time, the black seal wasn't so lucky. The waves knocked it off the ice. In a desperate attempt to survive, it tried to climb back onto the ice, but was dragged into the water by the orcas, which meant its chance of survival was gone. At this point, the remaining white seal felt a chill. The hunt was still on. The orcas launched another charge, and the massive waves nearly knocked the seal off the ice. But the white seal wasn't planning to give up. It waited for the orcas to regroup, then quickly jumped off the ice, swimming furiously toward the distance. It had to find a larger piece of ice, where the orcas couldn't easily attack. The orcas weren't giving up. They saw the target ahead, and worked together to push the ice into an open space, using the waves to knock the seal off again. With no other choice, the white seal jumped back into the water, desperately searching for new ice, and luckily, it found a bigger piece of ice, temporarily safe. However, the orcas weren't simple. They quickly regrouped, diving underwater to create a shockwave. The seal didn't even have time to catch its breath. When the second wave of orca attacks came, the waves shook the ice, danger closing in. Faced with the powerful orcas, the seal didn't give up. Instead, it prepared to fight back. The orcas were ready for another charge, and the seal quickly took the opportunity to escape, swimming desperately underwater, finally finding another floating ice. After 5 hours of pursuit, the seal was exhausted, unable to fend off the orcas' attack any longer. It was knocked into the water by a massive wave. The orcas swarmed in quickly, but the seal miraculously crawled back up onto the ice. At this point, the seal was completely drained. Now it could only leave its fate to chance. Luckily, the orcas were also exhausted, and seemed unable to push the seal off the ice. In the end, after this prolonged battle of endurance and willpower, the seal barely escaped, winning itself the chance to survive.